Let's talk about something real. Let's talk about healing. We all want to heal and move on fast after a breakup, but we want to wake up one morning and magically feel nothing, like the heartbreak just disappeared overnight. But it doesn't work like that. That's not how healing works. Did you ever bake a good loaf of bread? I mean, the real kind, the kind that takes time. You don't just throw flour and water and salt and yeast together and expect a loaf in 5 minutes. Nah, you gotta let that dough rest. You have to let it rise. You have to let the ingredients do their thing. And if you rush it, if you pull it out of the oven too soon, you're left with something that really isn't that good. Healing from a breakup is kind of the same way. The science of why healing takes time when we go through a breakup is that our brains go into withdrawal. Research shows that heartbreak activates the same neurological pathways as physical pain. That's why you may have felt physical pain after the breakup. That's why it hurts, literally. Your brain is adjusting to a loss, and just like withdrawal from an addiction, that adjustment does not happen overnight. Another study found that when people looked at photos of their exes, their brains lit up in the same areas as people withdrawing from drugs. That's why you can know a relationship wasn't right for you, but still crave that person like a habit that you can't quit. This is why expecting to be over it, and if anybody tells you, just get over it, they don't know what they're talking about. But that's why expecting to be over it in a week or even a month is like expecting to bake bread in a microwave. It's not how the process works. And so let's talk about the 3 phases of healing, which are kind of like making bread. I'm going to use that analogy today. Number 1, the mixing phase, shock and grief. At first, everything feels messy. Just like when you mix flour and water and salt and yeast, it doesn't look like much. You feel raw. You might cry randomly or get irritable. You might replay every moment wondering what you could have done differently. This is normal. Your brain is adjusting. Number 2, the rising phase, the growth and processing. Over time, things start to shift, just like how dough rises when given the right conditions. Your mind begins to process the breakup. You start to see things more clearly, the good, the bad, and the reality of why things ended. Maybe you start journaling or hitting the gym or diving into a new hobby. You might still have moments of sadness, but you are growing. And then number 3, the baking phase, the healing and transformation. Finally, after enough time and self-work, you reach a place where you don't just feel better, you actually start feeling transformed. Just like heat turns dough into actual bread, the challenges you faced have shaped you into somebody who is stronger and wiser and more self-aware. And when you've learned better, you do better. You're no longer clinging to the past. You're ready for what's next. And here's why you shouldn't rush the process. If you try to skip a step, if you try to avoid the grief or numb yourself with distractions or jump into a rebound, you're just pulling the bread out too soon. And what happens? Well, in a phrase, you're half-baked. You might think you're fine, but deep down, the pain is still there. It's still waiting to surface. Real healing isn't about rushing to feel nothing. It's about allowing yourself to feel, to process, and to grow. And that takes time. So, if you're in the middle of your healing journey, remember, good bread takes time, and so does real healing. Trust the process. Because when you do, you come out of it not just whole, but better than before. Remember, the higher you climb, the better the view. Let me encourage you to climb higher, because you deserve to be happy.